Hey guys, Listen Through Men here, and welcome to the Nut. Today I'm joined by my two co-hosts, Pokeslice and Phantom. If you guys want to
Yo,
introduce yourself in order.
hi, Pokeslice here. NU main council member, mod, uh, SSNU lover, whatever, I don't know what else to
Please.
say about that. I'm glad to be here though.
Hey
Yeah, man.
everyone, Phantom here. Also on the VR Council, I play SV and SS mainly, but I've dabbled in other gens. Managed the team on this tournament, the Act Fishing Arcanines. We finished just outside of playoffs, but I think we did well, especially for my first time managing. Happy to be here.
Yeah, man. Have you guys? So today we're covering NUPL finals. The tour is over. The Talons have won. Spoiler alert. But if we're gonna go to slides with some player shout out.
Yeah, just to start us off, I mean, there's really three people I think who are at the top of the sheet who really deserve to be shouted out here. I mean, first one, Starreal, 7-1 record in SS after a pretty monster. I think also 5-1, 6-1 record in NECL, something like that. And I'll be honest, I was very skeptical at first that that sort of momentum could continue into NUPL. I think the pools were much stronger. I think that the support for that team was much worse. And then Starreal, even though without really building and just piloting, was able to really dominate and really play some really great games, including in the finals. I don't know if we're going to talk about it, but it's worth checking out anyways. The shout out to Starreal, only 12K as well. Great, great, great. Esteban in SV has been somebody who's made a lot of waves recently, and then ended with a massive 6-1 record as well. And I know that for a lot of people in my team cord on the Viz, that we were talking about Esteban being the best SV in the tournament, and it was really cool to see Esteban be really underrated at the beginning and just like roll over everybody. And lastly, also Ampha, our flex machine, like super 3K, who went 6-1 for us on the Viz. That was just a monster tournament for them. And yeah, they all three players really were cream of the crop this tournament. And they deserve to get their praise and their flowers here.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. All right, let's get into some games. We got Tuthur versus Fusien in SV. It's a fun game here. Let's get into it. See the kilo lead in the tent. Ooh.
Awesome. Through. I'm curious. What do you think about matchup here? Just as the game's being played, and what do you feel about the teams, the current state of SV at the end of NUPL, things along those lines? Curious what you think.
I think Taurus looks good here, for sure. This team looks like Taurus food with resist tentacruel.
Yeah.
Especially when I got crit turn one. Probably see a tear later.
Yeah, I'm not really a fan of Tentacruel. I mean, we have to. This I think was probably the best Tentacruel game you're ever gonna watch. Where it just was able to. Am I wrong? I mean, when else does it do
It's
anything?
not good. It's not
I
good.
mean, it's an awful fighting
I
resist.
think it's either a C rank or unranked on the VR, and for a good reason. Towards the end of and even from the start of NUPL, Monkey Dory was taking over, and with Monkey Dory on top, there's just no place for Tentacruel.
For sure.
I mean, does it die to close combat too? Like, there's no. I don't know why you would use it. Like,
I think it's 3-shot. But like banned.
yeah, close enough. Probably 2-shot by like Ben Monk, like Migo with rocks up or something.
Yeah, if not close.
Also, say this kilowatt looks really good in this matchup.
Yeah. Yeah. Vulture,
I-
Flygon just catches a fly move.
Yeah,
Oh,
I think
that 19%
for-
makes me think it's defensive, which is
What on the kilo? Yeah, probably. I mean, you don't really need to be defensive kilo on that team, but it makes
I don't
sense. Like,
think you need
just
to do. You do have the Sylveon on the team.
don't
My
have
thoughts
Sylveon,
on
you have,
defensive
you
kilo
have
are very well
defensive
known. I
kilo.
don't like that one at all.
So for me, the big shining moment of this game, and I think we're about to see it come up in a moment, is the Dunsparce, which I'm on record as talking about, as thinking that it's ridiculously broken. And everybody, well, Elias laughed at me in council chat. Damn, this is a CB Tauros. No, it's going crazy.
Yes.
But I got laughed at council chat when I said that. But the truth is, just watch what it does, right? I think it's game over from here, right? Like, what is Fusien supposed to do? I mean,
speed too.
give it a speed
Say
boost. Give it,
Fusien misplayed this endgame heavily because the obvious play is just go Sylvie on Terra Steel and Calm Mind up against it. And then you do win the 1v1 because you PP stall it.
That's true. I do think that Fusien probably shouldn't have. I mean, if we're just analyzing the play over the last few turns, like if Terra wasn't on the board, Terra your Tauros and just KOing everything would make a lot of sense. But with Terra out there, I mean, you're watching what happens. You end up going Tauros, you're gonna try to EQ it maybe or flare blitz and barely do anything, KO yourself in the process, and now look, you have no way to even get through it. I mean, you're trying to calm mind through. Maybe you have to flinch with air slash, and that was probably your best bet.
And then if you are going to go for the Taurus sequence, you want to go for it early before it gets boots up.
Yeah, you have to. But I mean, I think
we're just over.
Yeah, I think top is really cool to see from the done here, because that's a set variation that people have been talking about for a little bit. Well, it just died, but like actually watching it in play and watching it be applicable is really, really cool. I think there's a lot of variety with the Dunsparce, but every set is broken.
Yeah, I think it's probably the best one. That or like coverage over toxic, but that's just me. I like common.
It's a pick and choose what your answers are, because if you go Shadow Ball, for example, you beat the Pokemon that do Terra after Terra, but then if you go Toxic, you're better at pressuring stuff early.
Yeah.
So it is a pick your poison type thing.
How do you feel about it in a Rhyperior meta that we're seeing post NUPL right now? Think that this dominance that we saw at the end of NUPL with the Dun just like sweeping everything is going to continue, or
no? I think it will still be strong. It will still be strong. I'm interested to see if Coil picks up, but I don't think Calm Mind's that good anymore.
Yeah,
interesting.
Let me think about that.
I mean, unless like some set variation that doesn't do Terra Poison, but then that leaves you open to like Monkey Dory stuff. So I don't know.
I guess we'll have to find out. No,
a Rhyperior EQ is doing what, 40 or 45 before Terra?
Yeah, but it SD's on you.
Yeah, and that's like just without the SD as well. So even without the SD, it's still really good at pressuring
you. AV Dragon Tail. There's a few cool stuff out there. Yeah. AV4 attack generally. I want to point out though, this is obviously, I think it's Tuthur, or however it's supposed to be pronounced. That was for him. I think is this the first time we're featuring him on the nut or no? Because he's been complaining about not being on it now for a while. But with the events of this week, I think we had to do it. And also he had a classic tournament. Yeah. former and new TL Tuthur. He had a 6-2 run over this NUPL.
That's great.
And it's great. I think he's been trying to make an SCL bid for a while, and with games like this, I think that's his best bet. I think it's this year. I think he's going to do it.
Yeah, honestly, at matchup, I would have picked Fusien, but Dun went in. I think Fusien just needed to save Terra. I think that was the problem, for sure.
I think it does point out though how volatile a lot of like the SV games in NUPL have been, and I bet you guys have probably also felt similar things about it. That just watching a lot of these games go down, it just feels like, okay, who's going to misplay the Terra, right? And then suddenly you go from a clear win to the Dunsparce coming back and just sweeping because you took the wrong line. We've all been there. Some of us have Terra'd in front of a first impression Flygon with a Dreadnought and whatever, stuff like that.
Yeah, I forgot the ability.
I think it's just an SV problem in lower tiers because the power level for offensive stuff is so high, but for defensive stuff it's so low.
100%.
Yeah.
We've definitely felt it like throughout this NUPL because I've been building most of our SV teams, and the team ideology is always try and force the Terra early. It's the best way to make progress.
Right, once you know all the information you need, right? You can actually create a game plan. This is a good game though. I think it was very SV NU core, It was a good representation of the tier.
For sure.
What was the final record in SV for the first set? It was, I think it ended up being 3-1 for the Talons, correct?
Yep.
Yeah. It was really the old gens where the old gens really where the Ducks were able to shine, which was surprising, I think. I thought that their SV core was one of the strongest in the entire pool, and then it just kind of ended up collapsing a little bit. But we'll see that in tiebreak, I imagine.
Yes. All right, let's move on to our next game. We have Slice's favorite game.
Oh, we are talking about this game. Okay.
I'm gonna go ahead.
Here. Just press play. Let it go. I'm going to just start talking. Okay, here, I mean, like I said before, I am very much an SSNU lover. I have been, trying to promote this tier and building and playing for probably better half of 2 or 3 years now. In times when nobody was willing to give it a chance. This is a type of game that I think is really, really instructive for anybody who really wants to learn how to play SSNU or understand the tier. And Phatom here is also, an SSNU guy, and I'm curious what he thinks. But what you're going to watch is a 200 turn game that will flip away from the person who had an amazing matchup towards the other person, because that person, I think, wasn't the person who had the matchup, which in this case would be OBB, was not able to capitalize on. I mean, that's an awful miss. If that hits, it's game over. Let's just start with that on this Savali steal, and you're going to see why later. But here's what I'm going to say about SSNU, okay? SSNU is all about being able to play proactively and aggressively in the proper way and at the proper time. You can't get complacent. You can't, stop putting on the pressure. You can't not make the plays and play passively, because even more, I think, than in many of the other NU gens, because, it's a usually slower paced tier, if you let people get back into it, all your progress is gone and you're going to lose. I mean, even look at that turn that we just saw, right? You have how many status conditions just went? 4, 5, and it came down to, essentially letting that happen. And you don't always need to be aggressive, but you're going to see over the course of this game, and we can even go on like turbo fast and just get through this. Watch how OBB right here, he stays in, makes a great predict even, and just slowly starts to whittle down Starreal's team. Suddenly Starmie's gone, Delmise is gone, Mudsdale is going to have a bunch of chip on it, which is going to be, really, really strong in the end game, honestly, for Popper potentially, with Talon being the main threat. So all his steal is, there's a burn now in Sylv. Like, you just watch this game kind of develop and watch the way that Popper and friends kind of start to wear things down. And it's going to be tough because we can't really slow it down. I don't know the exact turns, give or take, but there's a lot of turns where OBB had opportunities here while being really ahead like this, either make the predict or these interactions are just great, right? Like, that was a good play, and then suddenly he doesn't make the play. There's a burn now in Sylv, but he doesn't take the time beforehand to toxic it with Gastrodon and waste, heal bells, etc., etc., etc. That just allows Starreal to slowly build up a way to get back in the game. Phatom, what did you think? I've been talking for a while now, watching this game live. We were
watching this and we were talking in the chat together. Turn, what was it, like 33, 34, when the Delmise died? As soon as the Delmise died, I remember telling you, Starreal has no way to make progress beyond
I think I agree with you. I'm like, it's done.
If the only way to kill this Gastrodon is to PP stall it at this point. And that ends up happening because OBB isn't proactive enough.
Mm-hmm.
He gives the turns where Starreal can wish up, where he can rest, where he can get free heal bells, where he shouldn't be giving those turns. I will also say this Brimstone wasn't used at all until like the end of the game.
We just saw one of those turns where OBB had opportunities to toxic on the Sylveon to waste heal bells. Here's another one right here where he switches out in the copper on a wish going up instead of a toxic.
I will say that is another big mistake there, letting the Gastrodon get burned. You should never let that happen, because your win con is keeping this Pokemon alive. Keeping him alive and being able to force the toxics over and over, burn the heal bells. Letting it get wisped like that is just the recipe for you to get burned over and over. Your burning recovers every time it comes in.
I do think another thing that we just saw in this replay was the Grimmsnarl Sylveon interactions. Grimmsnarl here
Seems we've lost Slice.
No.
Oh, sorry about that. I got a call. I got a call from my grandma.
Tell her we said
Let me
hi.
go on do not disturb. But what I was going to say is that in SSNU, Grimstar usually runs Choice Band, which is, a bit of a different set from what he usually runs. And in this matchup, it kind of looks a little iffy on paper, but the truth is that you can, like, OBB really had opportunities here to start to use Grimstar a little bit, especially on Sylve, just to keep Sylveon low and to get hits. And he realizes, I think, a little bit later that that's the way to play it. And he'll begin to do that later on. And Starreal is beginning to realize, wait, Roar is really good. I mean, you're seeing Grim come in a lot more. Like right here, you just click. You don't think, you just click. Worst case scenario, you keep it low, right? There's a lot of opportunities like that where I think where OBB had chances to start to break and I think he just missed the win con of you gotta pressure Sylve. And you gotta
Say if
pressure
you
Sylve
hover
low.
the Talonflames HP right now, Starreal's Talonflame, I'm pretty sure it was in Lariat KO range.
I believe
So
it
not
is.
clicking there was just a pure mistake.
By the way, I think that's even play rough KO range after Toxic, and if it's not, and you make a play. You go on this
He was banded, he was locked into Lariat, and it killed everything at that point. Why not
Killed
just click it?
And by the way, even if it didn't on the Sylve and it H-voiced you pressure it with Talonflame, it dies to rocks. Like there was a lot of opportunities that OBB had here to win. And I mean, the game is still going, right? Like we've been talking now for what, 5 minutes and maybe more. And like Starreal is just and that one turn right there, turn 132, the burn, that's the beginning of the end. Because this whole game right now has been, you're essentially looking at, I think, two kind of archetypes for SSNU. You have, on the one hand, you have these Gastrodon balances that are almost like bulky offense type. Their lack of recovery, a bit weaker to status, etc. And on the other hand, you're going to have an evolution team, which I think Sylveon teams are really bad right now, personally. But what you're looking at here ends up being a game of a long-term game, right? That's all just about like wasting each other down, a war of attrition in every sense of the word. And the person who's able to get rid of status and to wish up is the one who's going to win. And the one way that OBB was able to pressure this team is that he had a leftovers Caparaja, right? That could come in on Sylve, and it could force things to rest and threaten things out. And the minute that it gets hit by that burn, that flame body, look at it, everything falls apart.
I will also say there was no real reason for him to Iron Head on that turn, because you should always be rock sliding. If the Mudsail comes in, if the Sylvali comes in, they aren't doing anything to your team. So you should, and at this point you are falling behind, because you are the team that loses in the war of attrition. You should be making the plays. Especially at this point, the Talonflame's toxic, your Gastrodon's burned. You are going to lose eventually, so you need to make the play, and he doesn't make the play, and it ends up costing him.
Yeah, I do want to say that I think we are, like, even though we're being critical of OBB's play here, I do want to, I really do want to talk about Starreal in this game, because, like we said at the beginning, this is the guy who had the best record in the pool. You're talking about, I think that ended up being the two people that I personally consider at the very top of the SSNU pool. I think that there's probably 4 people who, including myself, who would be at the top in some capacity, right? With Turt Dog, who's not featured here, who I also think is amazing. And this was a game that I think really showed the strength of Starreal as a player. Like, Starreal just got the turns right and found the win con probably 150 turns earlier than OBB, and just played that game. I think that this was, whoever won this game was going to be, like, if OBB wins this game, the whole series falls apart. Starreal for the entire tournament had been that anchor for the Ducks.
I will say I agree, Starreal is at the top of SS, because even when me and Awen and myself were going through our draft plans before the draft, we had him as our top SS pick, because we didn't anticipate him being expensive, and he didn't end up being expensive, but he was just that short bit out of our price range. So, but he did end up getting the best record in the tournament, because SS is a very intuitive gem. It's simple to play, it comes down to who has the better clicks. The teams are quite simple to build, they're not that complicated. There are some nuances,
There's a lot of
Yeah,
nuance. Give
there
it a
are
little
nuances,
credit.
but most of the difference comes down in the actual game. Because I think it's harder to get the team builder advantage in SS, and most of the difference comes down to who clicks better in the games. And Starreal is a very good pilot. He's been doing it in OU for years now. Now he's playing NU and he's doing really well.
Yeah, I think that's a perfect summary. I do think that there is a little more nuance than you're giving it credit for in the builder. Especially because I'm somebody who's been trying to spread propaganda of there being nuance in the builder for a long time. But you're 100% right. It comes down to the pilot, right? There's no gimmicks here. You just got to know. Just got to show up and play the game and probably know an interaction or three, and you're good to go. I'm a big fan of SSNU, and I'm a big fan. I've been a big fan of watching Starreal play, I think, in these past few games.
Yes. What a game. All right, moving forward, we've got our Sun Moon, Hacker versus Mind Gaming. I promise this one's a little bit shorter.
This one is the exact opposite game of what we just watched, correct? You want to take us through
It is. It really is. We're going from a war of attrition to just a straight up shootout.
All right, let's get into it.
Even here on turn one, just the immediate Z and kill. Immediate Z and kill.
It's one death.
All right, that took 0, by the way. That's crazy. Future set again. I will say from
It ends
turn
up being
1
a
and 2.
bulky rotom, I think.
Oh,
This was a crazy predict. This sludge bomb is crazy.
it's a great play. Flinch? No.
Dead.
Damn. We're okay. Hold up. We're on turn. We just finished turn
Turn
4.
four, there are 4 Pokemon
dead.
Yeah.
Now we get the 5th one.
So, another Z.
Dead.
People. Okay, here's the reason that people love SMNU so much. You just get to do stuff like that. Or SM is a gen, right? Like,
I
you
will
look
say
at-
this turn was very unfortunate. The first time burn is very, very game changing.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, bro, I can't blame people, you know? Like, I really like the long game. I like the games that are all about positioning
yeah.
and proactive play. That's what I love.
Some
But
people do just want to go out and get kills.
satisfying about just watching, like, whatever the hell we're watching, you know?
Fast games are fun.
They can be. And
Ooh, the crit.
You're gonna see the burn doesn't end up mattering because the
another
crit makes up for it.
yeah, exactly. Another 2 months, just go ahead and
I mean, it still
Hold
does
on.
matter because without the burn, the bravery survives without being chipped down. It just kills everything.
another dead one.
Yeah. Steelix
This is a
Chip's
game,
important
man.
for Comfy.
Yes, the Steelix strip is very important for the comfy.
Yeah, the fact that was good, that ended up being low kick is what's
Yeah.
gonna win this game.
Yeah, that double down was super important for mine getting it right.
Sure.
And the Sneasel force chip.
And then look at that. We went from an 180 turn game to a 17 turn game.
17
or
turn game.
18 turn game. I think 17, right?
17.
Barely in range.
Because we're still gonna see this die after the spike.
Brown. Was that a roll in the end?
No, it wasn't. No, I'm pretty sure it was guaranteed.
That was a fun game.
It was.
Very.
Just a very nice change of pace from the game before.
Juxtaposition between the two.
I love the
Oh, man.
start. Just instantly Oko. Something.
There's something amazing to watch about games like this where you don't even have to think. Like, it just feels like you're throwing haymakers back and forth. 2 heavyweights going at it. 2 great players, good teams, just wacky games.
I would say this is a rare tournament and that Comfy's been doing well. Usually this Pokemon ends up with like a 30% win rate.
Didn't it still have a 30% win rate?
Let me check.
I think it did. I think you're gassing it up, and I think it was like 40%.
Oh, the cumulative stats were never posted.
Oh, lovely. Okay.
I blame Slice.
Who's our stat guy? Who's our stat guy?
Murphy.
Oh, was it Murphy? It wasn't you? I thought it was
Nope.
you, the star. Okay.
I just did the first week.
That's kind of cool. Yeah, I know. I mean, it's also cool, but it's cool that you did the first week.
If I remember, I'll throw it up in post. If not, we'll just have to look it up. All right, moving on.
Right.
We've got our ORAS set. This is the game 10. So this is the game to either go to tiebreaker or the Talons could have won.
Yeah, what was the score of the series? It was 5-4 for the Talons at this point, correct?
Yes.
Which is LpZ?
LpZ, yeah. Fiends on the Ducks.
I remember in chat before this game, like for a good 8 hours, right? People were freaking out. Shengineer was freaking out. Bernardo was probably just like, who else? What were we calling it? Like, we had a dumb name. It was gonna be the Duck Armageddon or something like that. The Duck Demise. I don't know. It was in 8 hours the Ducks are losing.
I was Feen make edits an hour before.
So tell us about the team. Tell us the thought process. What was going on here? I'm curious. Why'd you guys go with this?
Well, I didn't build it. I just mainly helped test. So I didn't look in the scout too heavy. I kind of came in late.
Mm-hmm.
But looking at the matchup, Yama is so nice when you see an ORAS, because I think it's just knocks holes. Kabutops looks like obvious Scarf from Builder. It could not be, but it probably is. Well, I mean it is. I'm for sure of that.
It definitely is.
But looking at the teams, I would assume that. All right, let's get into it.
Ready? Okay, yeah. On preview here, just looking at this, I think if it's Scarf Kabutops, it can just win, right? That's what I was thinking from the beginning.
Yeah.
Bad crit.
For sure, it looks really good here.
I mean, what else looks really good here? I feel like Aurora's kind of looks like it has no switch-ins, especially now that there was that crit on Pyroar.
Yama.
It does look good, yeah.
Sorry.
They run AV like that in this tier.
Yeah, I guess AV. Yeah, but your choice band, return is I think still doing 40 or something, right?
Yeah.
Kabutops, yeah, it should be doing something around that.
And also, didn't it end up being Gut in the end and not AV Thick Fat? No, it must be AV Thick Fat.
They're always
looked
thick
really
fat in this
good
gen.
until
They
that
might not
moment
be
as
AV,
well.
but they're always thick fat in this gen.
You see Guts banned once in a while, but it's
Exactly.
The burn on the opposing Yama was nice too early. Oh, so Feen has something interesting here. This plume is more offensive than normal. That was a Quizil, however you say his name, suggestion. It's got some investment to switch into.
That damage is really good on Pelipper. That makes it so that liquidation is much more free to spam from the Kabutops.
Yeah, it's like Toxic Plate with some investment. It's still key, but it's got some investment.
This turn I'm really mad about because Feen threw away Scarf Kabu here, and I remember in the chat, Phantom, you were probably watching too, no? Were you around for this game? And we were all going, okay, Feen hasn't won, it's in the bag.
Yeah.
Scarf Kabu just wins. And then this turn happens, and a T-Wave comes out, and everybody goes, well, that's the end of the Duck season. The Duck
I mean, there is just no reason to let it get T-Wave there.
Zero. I mean, it's a meta game.
You got the chip on it, it dies to rocks next time it comes in, you could just reset. And you keep the speed on the Kabutops when it just tells everything else on the team. There is no point to do this.
Feen probably didn't predict T-Wave. A lot of Life are banned in this year. It's like a Pursuit Trapper. So he probably thought it was that, but T-Wave's rough.
I mean,
there was the Auroras was revealed to be banned, so I don't think they'd be double banned.
That's true.
It was clear that not a lot of thought went into that moment, right? And then boom, Kabu goes from being amazing, being able to eat hits, and gets thrown away. And again, that's a turn. Why are you edging?
Why? I don't. You do hit KO the Pelipper on switching. There is no point in edging.
This game was a whirlwind of emotion because you went from the Ducks are making tiebreak, we're sending it to overtime, to that was a crazy turn. Wait, go back 2 turns. Go back 2 turns. Over before that. Right there. Go back a turn and pause. Yeah, right there. Because I want to talk about what's about to happen. You go from, okay, Feen has it locked up, there's no way out, it's game over, to, oh my god, Feen just is choking away everything. And then right here, LpZ goes, oh, Feen, you're gonna choke? No, hold my beer. And then, boom, watch as it goes down. Earthquake into Zatu, that's fine. I get that. You don't really have such a great switch in. So you just heavy slam here. And I think here that LpZ was predicting a roost, but there's no reason to make that predict. Suddenly you go from everything, being at full, being able to check stack KO things, to Yama basically, taking chip, to a dead Steelix that you sack a turn later anyways, to Auroras not being able to, live from Plume Giga Drain anymore, or check and like the game went from all away and looking like Auroras could do it to, oh my god, game is just, there's no chance of a comeback here for LpZ. And just like that, we went off to tiebreak.
That is a slow band Auroras. Just want to point that out.
I mean, no,
I think it's that slow. I think it's more about him being fast.
Yeah, Plume got tricked the Scarf earlier.
Oh, I'm sorry, I had a moment.
Yeah, from Rotom.
Oh yeah, the Scarf Plume.
It happens, it happens.
Scarf Plume just won, always, right?
Scarf, somewhat offensive Plume. Which is just fun.
This was a game of all. And I think Feen had been really inconsistent in the tier beforehand. Like, I think that was part of the concern. Wasn't historically Feen has been like a 50-50, I think, in ORAS.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not sure.
He even started the tournament playing ORAS. He started playing SV. You got switched into ORAS.
It was a win versus Waddle, a loss versus PU, a loss to Fogbound, and then a big bench run for only to win in semis and finals for them. Good comeback by Feen.
All right, next game we've got our DPP. This is actually the first game of the series. This one was played on like Tuesday or Wednesday, and everything else was Sunday, which is fun.
This was okay. I think that Ninja recently in DPP has shown himself to be the best DPP NU player out there right now. And I think it's because he's kind of unlocked the style of team that you're about to watch, which is, I mean, just the second I see Ninja and I see a Dusclops and a Hitmonchan, there's going to be a Cacturn on that team. There's going to be a Tauros, and there's probably a Regirock, maybe a Floatzel, right? Like, without knowing anything, I'm going to make the assumption that I just guessed this team. I have not watched back the game. I don't know. I remember watching it probably in the moment. But we've seen like a real renaissance in DPP and people actually playing and building again. And one of the things that's broken DPP has been basically Ninja, honestly, and a few other people popularizing. How do you say that word? Whatever. The style of team. And you just kind of watch, like, I think that here there was a big team difference and a little bit of a player difference that just...
So yeah, Ninja played really well in this game. His clips were on point, his doubles were on point, his predicts were on point.
Oh wow.
I was very surprised they didn't pick him for tiebreaks. He finished the tour 6-2, and the Talonflames DPP was only 3-5.
Look, I do think that, I mean, we can talk about it as we're watching this game happen, as a little bit of a prelude to tiebreak. So the Talons ended up picking what I think is an obvious pick for them, which was a second SV, right?
Yeah.
And then when it came to
especially after the 3-1 week, 100% you pick a second SV.
Yeah, 100% you pick a second SV. Great predict on a boom. Look at that. I mean, this is just Ninja masterclass right here. I think with the Ducks it was a little complicated. Right? Boom, perfect. Just see every Ninja. He knows the tier inside and out.
A great boom predict, by the way.
Yeah. I mean, okay, look, we can't say that the Ducks picked wrong, right? They looked at their players. They said, okay, we have a guy who is 7-1 on the year, 6-1 at the time, 7-1 on the year at the time. He has beaten the other player, even though he's probably, a top 3, top 4 minimum at his floor SS player, right? Who's been pushing innovation for a while. I'm just like, if he's beat him twice, why not 3? Go with our best guy. Okay, can't fault it, right?
Yeah.
I think that the bigger issue in tiebreak came down to who they picked to play, but whatever. I do think, though, that when you watch this game and you watch how Ninja dominates here, and you look at his record of 6-2 and how untouchable he's felt in DPP, I think relative to Starreal's games, which have been, I think, a little bit closer. I struggle to understand why they didn't pick DPP. And maybe, you guys have some insight or thoughts on it as well, and what you would have done in that situation. Because, I mean, the player difference in record and in, I think, just feel for the tier between Ninja and it probably would have been Hubriz again, was much larger than Starreal and OBB. But what do you guys think?
I 100% agree, because sure, Starreal did really well in SS throughout the tournament. He's beaten OBB multiple times and did really well in the games, but at the end of the day, OBB is still OBB. He was the most expensive SS for a reason. For like the past 3 years, he's been a top 3, top 4 player consistently in every tournament. And he knows the ins and outs of the tier. So, if there was a chance, I would have. If there was a chance for the Talonflames, I would have picked OBB into the SS matchup over Hubriz in the DPP matchup.
I think that's good and that's true, but don't forget about the momentum that Starreal had after that like comeback game. That may have been a factor too.
You're saying like the mind game of having, OBB basically throwing away what felt like it should have been a win?
Yeah.
And playing into that?
That may have been a factor. I don't know. I wasn't.
That could have been a factor, but at the same time, you're looking at a 6-0 on your screen right now.
True.
in a gen that's notorious for coming down to the last 2 or 3 months. Because like in a non-preview gen, what you're trying to do is save information. You don't want to show your mons. You don't want to show your hand, so you do try to use your sacks early. So if you do get a 6-0 in a gen like this, it is very impressive.
You're right. I mean, when you look at it that way, right? I can't fault it. And listen, Thurman, do you want to pull up the tiebreak matchups that we saw now and we can just kind of talk about, the picks in general? Because I do think that the controversial pick was not SS, but it was SV, right? And it was who got thrown in there and how tiebreaks happened. It ended up being a bit, I think, weird. It caught people off guard because instead of putting in any one of their, I would say, more experienced players, they went with a Lucas, right? And a Lucas is awesome. And a Lucas, if you're watching, you're great. You did amazing. I think your first team tournament in NU, 4-2 in SV on a 3K. And no doubt that Lucas is only going to do better and better in other tournaments as they happen. I mean, this is a great breakout. But what do you guys think about the picks that we saw? There was a sub here, by the way. It was supposed to be Starreal versus OBB, but the series was over. Yeah. But what do you think about the picks?
I'm 100% with you. They do have experienced players for their SV, their second SV. Besides Shengineer, they have Dugza. They have other players on the bench that could have done it. They have Feen as well. I would say Feen's SV hasn't been as consistent as Lucas was this tournament, so I do understand going for Lucas, but I don't understand not going for someone like Dugza, who has the experience, who knows how to play in a tiebreak environment when their stakes are on the line.
You have to remember too, during the regular week, Lucas was their only win. So that may have
that is a factor. You're right. You are right. That is a factor.
They felt like Dugza might have been a little cold at that moment.
That thing with the Lucas win, and I just watched back the replay. It wasn't. I think a lot of Lucas's games have come down to getting really good matchup, rather than, I would say, a great. He's been good player, obviously, right? He's winning for a reason, but not like, amazing play the way that you're having out of your players in Starreal or Ninja this tournament. And I think that when you watch back that game, and I don't know if we have it up here, but it felt the same way. I mean, he loaded an Iron Defense Slowbro Galler and an Altaria that just dominated in that matchup. And Ming is a great player. And almost joined us today, I think, to nut with us. But it was, but Ming is, not the same caliber of player. No offense to Ming, as Hoenn is, right? And I think that Lucas in the SV4 spot has been like a miracle for the Ducks all tournament. But it just kind of felt like it was lacking, lacking something that you need in tiebreak. And I think it comes down to, and this is my critique of my good friend Bernardo in this moment. He's a great regular season manager. He knows how to encourage, and same with Shengineer. They both know how to encourage players and get the most out of them. And I think we saw in NUCL as well that when it comes to picking tie breaks, right, and picking tiers and all this stuff, they're too invested in the analytics, and sometimes you got to go with aura. You know what I mean?
So I
Still
do
might feel.
100% agree, because like you're throwing Lucas against Sinnoh confirmed. I think he won Slam at some point. He's a multiple time NU Open winner. He's won multiple tournaments across the site. He's played in SPL, he's played in SCL. He's done it all. He's the type of player who's been in this environment many times. He knows how to play when the stakes are high, and I think it reflects even in the team choices. Because Lucas brought out a Rain, and if you're bringing a Rain to a tiebreak, I think it shows some your confidence isn't there. You are shaken. You're not completely confident that you are able to outplay.
The thing is, Lucas is really known for more like fat, balancey kind of teams. A lot of slower teams. So there's the effect of like trying to mix it up. But it's a very valid point in a tiebreaker. Going for a fish.
Yes, I do agree with you. That is what Lucas is known for. But then you look at Hoen's team choice. Duraludon isn't good into the fat teams. Duraludon isn't a good one for long games. But what it excels at is the hyper offense matchup, and that's exactly what happens. So I do think the Talonflames expected this.
I mean, even more than that, when you watch the game too, I think nerves got to Lucas. We were talking earlier about Terras, right, and like when you should Terra. If you can play the game less than 3 men, and we can kind of get into that. I think you're gonna see a game that really should have been won by Lucas. Rain into. I mean, look, if you actually look at Hoen's team, especially if Lucas had brought a special attacker on Rain, like instead of Chinchino here, say like a Kingdra. I mean, the water resistor shaky for Rain straight up. I mean, look at that, right, Weather Ball just dominating the first few turns. It feels like there's nothing that's gonna stop this. And as you kind of just keep watching, and you just keep watching a little bit more, boom, look at that. And like it's suddenly like, oh shoot, Torn on the first few turns just takes out everybody. Okay, Bass comes in. Jet. Okay, so that already gives you enough information. And then from there, things get a little bit weird with that Terra. Terra goes Blast. Okay.
I think this was a very early Terra, especially considering the Rain was running out this turn.
Mm-hmm.
So the obvious place, just flip turn out into a Rain setter, into Chinchino, reset, and continue from there. There is no reason to keep this Basket Legion on the field and commit your Terra.
I agree.
Knocking a hole in Serena is good, but you lose your only Aqua Jet resist when you're boosting it with your own Rain.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Look now. Look at Aqua Jet and look into that team. Like it kind of just felt like. I hate talking bad about Lucas because I think that he's great, but that's rough. But it really felt like Lucas here kind of lost the thread a little bit and got a little trigger happy, and suddenly look, Jet claims another one. That's 2 for Jet. Okay, now you can go Overquill, and what's that? Another one? Oh no! And there's no water resist anymore. And then suddenly you go ahead and you sack Chinchino, which it looks like would have lived 1, and that's it. I mean, at the end of the day, there's not much left to do. Finally, a flip turn comes out. Helmet. Okay, that's now you're almost in Aqua Jet range, right?
Yeah.
That's a fun interaction with this. And like this game, I think this was a game that I think afterwards Hoenn was really a little bit of an asshole about, to pardon my French in the chat, and being like, I should never have won this, whatever, and I'll call it out as I see it. But in reality, he was a little bit correct. This game felt like a game that Lucas probably could have won, and I think that a Rain with a special attacker could have won, right? And sometimes that's how it goes. That's just how it goes. That's okay. And this was, I think, when I saw this game happen, I predicted Hoenn to win, but when it was like that, I'm like, that felt like it could have gone differently,
Yes, especially after the first few turns with the Tornadoes going in, the Confuse on the Duraludon and the Slowbro.
Yeah, Lucas said everything in the beginning and just didn't pull through. It happens.
I would have liked to see Doug's or Hacker or even Ninja in SV for tiebreak. I think those would have probably been better choices. But hey, you know what? Going to the game, Lucas was 4-1.
Yeah.
I get it. I wouldn't make that decision personally, but again, you know, your managers looked at the numbers, they looked at who they were feeling had been good in prep and in play, and they went with him.
At the end of the day, it was a really good tournament for Lucas. It is his rookie tournament, and he did really well.
Good
And it is
tournament.
kind of Shengineer and Bernardo's rookie tournament as well. It's their rookie NUPL, that's for sure.
Well, yeah. Good learning experience, I think.
Definitely. Moving to our second tiebreaker game. Towns are up 1-0 at this point. We have Shengineer versus Mind Gaming.
This was a good game.
Again,
Right,
I do want to
let's
highlight,
implement-
this is what we just mentioned. Mind Gaming hasn't been playing SV this entire tournament, but they throw him in because he is the experienced player.
True.
That is true, actually. You're right. Like, I mean, this was a game where who was their SV for most of the tournament? Because Mind Gaming was in SM in tiebreak. I mean, in the first series, it was
Mind
Master
Game
Chief.
played a couple of weeks of
Tuthur.
SV at the start of the tournament, and then he went into SM, and they put in Master Chief.
I'm shocked they didn't do Tuthur, by the way, in tiebreak. I mean, the guy was 6-2 in SV on the year, but it's fine. They just felt the aura, right, of a great player in Mind Game, and like and just watch how this goes. This game, I think, was really cool. I was watching this half watching this from a car on mobile. So when I saw the teams that match up and I saw Mind Gaming's team, I was like, oh, this is the Life Orb sub-split Basque Legion team that Django and I had made for 3D or for Rick in NUPL semis. Which if anybody wants is hit me up. Great team. It was a lot of fun to make. And then as the game goes on, we're like, oh, it's not that team. It's just very clearly a similar vibe. But can you look at that matchup and tell me, like, for Shengineer, what's his plan into Life Orb, Shadow Ball plus Surf? I mean, it would be game over on preview. We made it.
Really
We made that team to beat
It's
Shengineer.
just try and pressure it offensively and don't let it get turns.
Yeah, not possible.
Which I do think, but I do think between like Kilowatt, Chandelure, and those two especially, it should be kind of easy to do. But then again, like once your stuff gets paralyzed, once your Yuxi goes down early, you're running out of sacks, and there really is
choice
much you can
band.
do.
Wow. What do you guys think of? I mean, we talked about that team. What do you think about Shengineer's teams? Because he's been really interested in these like no steel DNC Uxie teams for a while, and I'm not convinced on them.
I really am not either. I've told them on multiple times I don't like these teams.
And
Especially, I don't believe in Overquill as a Pokemon. This was before Muck dropped Rose as well. Even now, I don't believe in an
Owen
Overquill
was
as a
a great
Pokemon
type.
outside Rain.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really see a reason to. I don't think it does anything, and I think the dropping of what's it called, of Rhyperior only makes it even worse, right?
Yes,
We don't need
exactly.
to use that for spikes. No, I mean the rise of Muck, sorry, not the dropping of Rhyperior. I mean both, truthfully.
I will say I do really like these fast DNCs Chandelier likes.
Yeah.
Yeah, with Balloon, I think
The
it's a
fast
great
Encore
deck.
is really good into
Really good.
Vaporeon and Scrafty.
For sure. In prep this week, I was helping Shen some, and we noticed it was kind of weak to like special, like ghost moves, special water moves, like special Legion in particular. But I don't think there was an easy fix kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean that's the type of thing where I would have looked at it and been like, "There's too much weakness. We can't be running it." I mean,
I think I would have
Hey,
been the
that's
same.
just
Like,
kind of how I
if
view
there
it,
is
though.
like a glaring weakness like that, you can't really run the team. Even like a Band-Aid Terror won't be enough. You do have to just switch the team or go with a new concept.
yeah,
In
it's a tough call to make.
test, they got pressured with hazards enough, but we see that didn't work out here. Spoilers.
Yeah, I mean, like the writing's on the wall, right?
Yeah.
And that with it's going to go the whole series in the end. I think it's a shame that it ended up this way, because it really did feel like the Ducks were going to do it, and they had all the momentum they needed, you know.
Yeah.
And then it just fell apart. fell apart.
Yes, and that is the end of the series.
The end of NUPL with it.
What do you guys think of the tournament in the end?
I mean, I will say my thoughts as a manager was, first, I'm bummed that we missed on playoffs by just due to pure hacks. At the end of the day, we didn't do our job as a team because we did lose a lot of weeks. We went into week 7 3-3. We dominated week 7, but the differential wasn't going to matter. So we were relying on other teams. At the end of the day, we missed on Rabia. We missed playoffs. Rabia was the last game, the game we were waiting on, and he won by ultimate hacks. He got a 6% roll into a full para, and that cost us playoffs. But at the end of the day, we shouldn't have been in that position from the beginning. But I did enjoy the tournament. I think it was a very close tournament.
Yeah.
All the teams were really evenly matched, and it shows because in week 7 there were 4 teams on 5 points in a team, 4 teams on 6 points in a team on 5 points. I think.
Something like that. And one team eliminated.
Yeah, only one team was out of
because of just
only one team was out of contention and one team had clinched. So there were 6 teams in competition for playoffs in week 7.
Yeah, strong tournament.
And 2 of them were facing each other, so it was a very strong tournament.
Very strong.
And I'm really happy I was happy with my draft. I'm really happy with how we performed, even if we missed out. I think it's a good learning experience for myself, especially considering we didn't draft an experienced team. I think we were kind of relying on just the team building from myself and from others, but I really enjoyed it. It was very interesting to see how the SV and SS metas especially developed throughout the tournament.
For sure. Of course, it didn't go well for us. I was on the ANCs, and we were the one that were eliminated. But honestly, I don't think we had a bad team. We had a bad first couple weeks, lost momentum. But overall, just a really strong tour, you know? Competition was high. I don't think there were any bad teams this NUPL.
No, 0.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. Even the weeks you lost, like weeks 1 and 3, you barely lost 6-4 weeks, so
Yeah.
it was very close. Even if you ended up the tour, even if you entered week 7 out of contention.
Yeah, this was a bit of a disappointing NUPL for me. I felt 2 things. Number one, that the last NUPL was way more hype. Maybe that's just me. It also helps that I won last NUPL, right? But
That's probably why.
which was a really good feeling, in all honesty, to be able to walk away with a win there. It was the type of thing where, just for me and my experience with it, that I, being my main tier and you, I'm always looking forward to NUPL and being able to properly prove myself and what I can do, and just seeing the way that people get really into it, you know what I mean? And then this NUPL was I don't want to say that it was bad. I don't think it was bad. I do think though that it felt like it was lacking a lot of hype. Does that make sense? Coming off of NUCL, which was just awesome. I wanted more out of this tour, you know what I mean? I wanted to keep that momentum going. And it just wasn't there, it's okay. It happens,
I can see where you're coming from. I do think it was hype, but that might have been just me because I was managing a team. That's my first time managing in NU. But I do think compared to NUCL, you can see it as a bit of a disappointment because I think NUCL was the best team tournament that I've participated in, whether as a player or just someone watching. The whole flex slot format was really cool, and we can see other tiers adopting it now. I think UUPL is doing it.
Yes.
And RU's doing it as well.
UCL, but yeah.
Yeah, UUCL. So it's being adopted into other tiers, and it's our innovation. So I'm quite proud of that.
Of course, this is my first NPL. So I was actually up there. So that was nice. But we got destroyed.
You win some, you lose some.
Yeah.
Now it's just onto the kind of a team tour break until I'm guessing December. That's when NUCL is going to start up again. In the meantime, we've got SCL and a bunch of singles tournaments. So looking forward to those, obviously. We've got ladder tournament right now, which I am not enjoying. I will say that I'm not enjoying it. My ladder experience has been very questionable. I'll say that much.
I do want to say that, as a mod now in NU, I've been really, one of the things that I've been really into has been trying to figure out how we can just innovate and push things,
Yeah.
And I think I'm proud to say that it felt like this tournament that we really went ahead and were able to do that. So thank you to everybody involved. Couldn't have done it without you. You're real ones for that. I hope to see you all again. And yeah.
No Great to see everyone again. I will definitely be back managing next year. I don't know if anyone's still down for it, but I'm definitely down for it. We'll see where that goes from there. Slice, are we managing NUCL together?
Potentially. I think that could be in the cards. Either you and me, or yeah, probably you and me. Why not? Why not?
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it. Because it can't be Danny again, that's for sure. So
I will say, well, I was just part of his BLT team. He was AFK for 99% of the
yeah,
tournament.
Danny's retired. Danny's retired. It can't be Danny again. I need a new manager. It could be you. It could be. There's a few other people who are asking me, but I'll commit to you right now. Let's do it. You and me.
One more closing thought.
It's on.
Comfy ended up with a 53% win rate.
53? Wow.
Unbelievable. I know.
That's crazy. Well, I'm gonna DM E-Turn about it right now. E-Turn, thoughts on Comfy having a 53?
He was two of them, so we can blame him.
Yeah, that's true.
All right. We're going to close it here. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Thank you to my co-hosts. This is the end of our NUPL coverage, but it's not the end of the nut. We'll be back with more content in the future, likely well before NUCL stuff. But until next time, everybody like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time for more nut.
Also to Shengineer. I was trying to give Shen a shout out.
Oh yeah, shout out Shegineer into the post-credit scene.
Of course, of course.
We didn't forget.
We didn't forget about you, Shen.